So here's something strange I've noticed about people who love luxury. And I'm not talking about wealthy people who genuinely collect watches or appreciate craftsmanship. I'm talking about the people who will finance a pair of shoes, or walk around carefully so they don't crease their sneakers, or take pictures of their watch in perfect lighting, like the watch is the main character of their life. The weird thing is, the louder someone flexes, the quieter something usually feels inside them. It's almost like the obsession is less about the product itself and more about what they hope the product says about them. You ever seen someone buy something expensive and the first thing they do is watch other people's reactions, like they're waiting for validation to hit before the dopamine does? It's interesting, and honestly a little sad, but it tells you something deeper. Most luxury obsession isn't confidence. It's insecurity dressed up in designer. And once you start noticing it, you can't unsee it. You look around and see people using brands as personality traits, or treating their watch like it's a personality upgrade, like suddenly they're a more valuable human because there's a little crown on their wrist. You see people walking into a room hoping the logo walks in before they do, hoping it fills in the parts of them they don't want anyone to notice. And what's funny is that everyone pretends it's about liking good quality or rewarding themselves. But you know when someone buys something just because they genuinely like it. Those people don't flex it. They don't need you to know. It's the ones who need you to notice who give everything away. It's relatable though, because we live in a time where it feels like everyone is being judged. Your clothes, your phone, the car you drive, the job title you introduce yourself with, everything is a performance. Everything feels like a ranking system. And when people feel like they're falling behind, they look for shortcuts. They look for something that instantly boosts their perceived value. And nothing does that faster than luxury. It's the fastest way to signal success without having to explain anything. You walk in with the right items, and people assume you've got your life together. Or at least, that's what we think will happen. In reality, most people don't care. But the people who care the most are usually the ones chasing the same thing. So here's the real question. Why does something as unnecessary as luxury end up feeling so emotionally important to so many people? The truth is, it has very little to do with the item itself, and almost everything to do with the insecurity underneath it. That insecurity becomes the engine behind the obsession, the quiet thing driving the whole show, without anyone really noticing it. And I think the first part of this goes back to identity. When someone doesn't feel good about who they are, they'll look for something outside themselves to fill the gap. And luxury is an easy identity plug. It's like saying, okay, I might not be confident or accomplished or stable right now, but at least I look like I am. It becomes a costume, a disguise, a shortcut to an identity they haven't fully built internally. And honestly, it works temporarily. You put something expensive on, and for a moment, you feel like a better version of yourself. But that feeling fades quick, and then you're left wanting the next thing, and the next, and the next. That's how the obsession starts. The high wears off, so you chase a new one. But emotionally, the roots go way deeper. Most of this obsession comes from comparison, not because people truly want luxury, but because they're trying to escape the feeling of being less. A watch or jacket isn't really about the item. It's about wanting to feel seen, valued, and finally, enough for a moment. Luxury becomes a temporary bandage for that feeling, and most people never admit that's what's really going on. They just keep reaching for whatever quiets that insecurity the fastest. And for some people, the obsession goes back to childhood. If you grew up feeling poor or overlooked, money later in life becomes more than money. It becomes proof that you're no longer that kid who felt small or powerless. That's why some people dive into luxury the moment they can afford it. They're trying to comfort a younger version of themselves, but the past doesn't disappear just because you wrap it in leather and stainless steel. If anything, the insecurity underneath becomes clearer the more you try to cover it. There's also this whole social pressure factor. You see someone on Instagram flexing and you feel behind. You see your friend buy something expensive and you suddenly feel like you're supposed to keep up. You see influencers who are barely adults making you believe your life sucks because you don't have a certain lifestyle yet. And it creates this weird psychological pull where luxury becomes a performance more than a preference. People don't ask, do I want this? They ask, will this make me look better? That's when it stops being enjoyment and starts being insecurity. There's something called social comparison theory, a very simple psychological concept that says people don't measure their value based on who they are. They measure it based on who they're standing next to. That's why luxury hits so hard emotionally. It instantly boosts your ranking in the social hierarchy, at least in your mind. And then there's identity signaling, where people use brands to communicate traits they wish they had, like charisma, confidence, or success. Brands literally function as personality patches. You attach them to yourself to say something you struggle to say on your own. But when you zoom out, you start to see that this obsession isn't really about material things at all. It's about wanting to feel seen in a world where it's easy to feel invisible, and wanting to feel valuable when everything around you feels like a ranking system. Luxury isn't the real issue. The insecurity underneath it is. The item just exposes where someone feels small or unsure of themselves. And that's why you'll see people who don't even have much money still buying luxury when they can. It's not irresponsibility. It's them chasing a feeling they haven't been able to find anywhere else. That quiet sense of, I matter. That's the real thing luxury promises. The good news is is that things get a lot easier once you understand why you want luxury in the first place. The minute you separate the feeling from the item, you stop buying things for validation and start buying them because you truly like them. And when you get to that point, you realize the real flex was never the brand at all. It's being able to walk into a room without needing anything to prove your value. It's understanding that the insecurity wasn't in the item. It was in the part of you that just wanted to be acknowledged. And once you finally give yourself that, the obsession fades on its own.